All right, as soon as we're done here, I gotta go get my nails done because I've got a video shoot for a client tomorrow and my hands are gonna be in the scene, and these cuticles, these are not photo ready. What's shaking bacon? I'm Joni Simon. Welcome to my studio. This is where I do food photography, and the goal here is to improve your food photography skills so you can feel confident behind the camera. And today we are talking about tabletops and the tables that we shoot on, because it's an important topic, right? Something that we all use if we are a food photographer. We're theoretically shooting on some sort of surface, and we need that surface to be supported in theory. And so I see a lot of different behind the scenes. I know for me, when I first started out shooting, I was shooting in my own kitchen on countertops and kitchen tables, things like that. But maybe at some point you kind of venture into, I need something a little more official or something a little more sturdy or something that's going to work better. So what I want to share with you today are the two tabletops that I use pretty much all the time. Like if I'm here in my studio, this is what I'm using. So the number one most important thing to always keep in mind in terms of like whatever you're shooting on, whatever's supporting your surface, whether you're using vinyls or you're using wood backdrops or whatever, you have to have something under that. And so as long as that something is stable, that is absolutely most important. If you've got an unstable like table that you're working on, I've seen people stacking on bar stools, which makes me insanely nervous. You want to make sure you've got a good degree of stability going on. So as far as the tables that I use, the first one is actually this one right here. This is more of like my artistic choice. Whenever I want a good wood backdrop, this is going to be the table that I use. So the story with this table, unfortunately, I can't like send you out to a store right now to go buy this table. I mean, you can buy this table, but it won't look like this. So we bought this table, Ryan and I, for our very first apartment. I think we paid like $150 for it at IKEA. And so a lot of people have this table. It's sort of like the basic IKEA kitchen table or dining table. It comes with 4 chairs. Actually, I'm sitting on one of them right here, right now. And you can see this is actually the original color. It's like this yellowy color. And so after we moved and we got a bigger kitchen table at a certain point in time, this table ended up outside. And for those of you who know, I live in Phoenix, Arizona, which is a very arid, dry climate. And in the summertime, we get super intense hot summers. Like just the sun bakes things and makes things fall apart. And so we had this table outside, like in the garden, out on the back patio, in direct sunlight for a couple, maybe even up to like 2 summers. And this thing got really well worn, which wasn't intentional. It was just sort of like out there. And then at a certain point I was looking at it, I'm like, that thing looks really funky and that could be really great shooting surface. But again, looking at this original color, it's a little too yellowy and orangey, and that wasn't gonna be like super pristine for my taste for shooting. It's just not a color palette that I like to shoot on in terms of a backdrop. I wanted something a little more neutral. So the first step was to sand it all down to get sort of like that shiny finish off of it. So sanded it down, and then I refinished it with a darker stain. And actually I still have that stain. I was like, I wonder if I still have it. Sure enough, in my paints collection with all the other paints from my backdrops and everything, this is what I used. It's the Varathane wood stain in the color Kona. And so some of my favorite photographs have been captured on this surface. It's got a lot of texture and character. It's well worn. It's like the worn kind of look that happens just over time. So if you have maybe like an old table or even like an old piece of wood, just leave it outside, let it get worn. Granted, maybe you don't have the advantage of the Arizona sunshine, but just let that thing get beat up, throw some chains at it, throw some knives at it. And I continue to beat this thing up. It's got like, some gouges in it, and I cut on it from time to time because again, when it comes to food photography, we love that texture. And 2, this table is nice and sturdy. At a certain point, one of the legs started to get a little wobbly, so just got in there with the screwdriver, made sure to tighten it up because we don't want this going anywhere. Specifically, first of all, we don't want like food falling off. We don't want our tables falling apart. But more importantly, when it comes to food photography, if you're ever in a situation where you're taking maybe multiple shots that you're going to combine together, like in a composite, you want to make sure that the table and the surface aren't shifting at all. Obviously there's the occasional, like you bumped into the table, whoops, but for the most part, we want to make sure that it's staying in place and that it's stable. The same idea too, if you're ever shooting video, like, the Tasty style overhead videos, if this thing is wobbling as you're standing stand mixer is going, or as you're whisking something or cooking something up, it's going to be very obvious in the footage. So you want to, again, make sure that this is nice and stable. Now, one of my favorite things about shooting on this table is that it is an actual table, which means I have the ability to shoot and kind of get more atmosphere and to see the edges of it. That's something that I really like to incorporate into my food photography, just because it adds sort of a realistic element that we're not just shooting on a surface, that we get the sense of the edge of the table and the room. And so something to think about if you have the opportunity to shoot more of the table. That can be a great thing. And then otherwise, the other table that I use, and I think specifically a lot of you who maybe are limited on space and you need to be able to like set your setup up and then put it away, and you don't want to have to deal with like a full-size table, is to work with a sawhorse. Well, you need 2 sawhorses. Is that what the plural of sawhorses? Sawhorses? Sawhorsei? But you'll see this set up in a lot of commercial photography studios, tabletop photographers, product photographers. It's a really great option because you just get the 2 sawhorses and you put a board over top, or in our case, you can just put a surface right on top as long as it's a sturdy surface. But we do, again, want to focus on the stability factor. So in order to make sure, because for me, I've got these plastic sawhorses, they're really nice and lightweight. They fold up. You can just stack them up against the wall when you're not using them. But they are a little, like they'll shift around, pretty easy to bump, and it'll just like move. So what you first can do is take some just pieces of wood, like I don't know if it's 2x4s or exactly the size, you can kind of measure it out, but there's these little pieces here on the sides that you can just slide that right into, and that will make sure that those are kind of cemented in place and they're not moving around. And then you want to make sure, something that is super duper important for any commercial photography studio, is something that I have begun to really embrace more and more as my gear continues to grow and the studio continues to grow and you got more people walking around, is to have some quality sandbags on hand. And then what I love about these particular sawhorses, I just got these at Home Depot. They're not anything fancy, but they've got this sort of grippy sort of material here on the top, and what that does is that just helps ensure that my surface isn't slipping around. So once I've got this nice and anchored with the wood on the side, and I've got those sandbags in place, and I put the surface on the top or a wood board on top, and nothing's going anywhere. Now, one of my favorite things about this particular setup is that it's really easy to navigate around. So if you're in a smaller space, or if you're working with a lot of people, or even more importantly, you're working with a lot of maybe different lights and different gear, different cameras, is that you can navigate around that a lot easier than maybe a larger table. That sometimes, you're like, I want to get the light closer, but the table's in the way. That when you're working with a sawhorse, you don't have like all this extra space in terms of that surface that you're having to deal with. So you can negotiate around it a little bit easier. So hopefully, if you are building out a studio or you're trying to figure out what's going to be the best solution for your table, you've got some new ideas in your back pocket to pull from. But other than that, I hope you're doing well. I hope you're staying out of trouble. I'll see you soon, okay? Bye.